The season is over, guys. Real Madrid won La Liga and the Super Cup, Atletico Bilbao the Copa del Rey, and Barca got knocked out of the Champions League. There are still some games left to play in La Liga against Real Sociedad, Almeria, Rayo Vallecano and Sevilla. However, they have no purpose to them. The only thing Barca can still play for is second place, which they gave away after losing to Girona with 4-2. In this video, we are going to look back at the season and find out what went wrong. Before we do so, I want to ask you guys to subscribe to my channel. The season is almost over, but football remains the entire summer, with the European Championship, the Olympics and the friendlies in the USA. And before we know it, next season is here, and I will put out a lot of content in the meantime. Also, let me know what type of content you guys want to see. And now, let's move on to the video. No trophies. After last season, the hopes were very high, especially for the Champions League, because that's the trophy Barca desperately wants. However, things didn't feel the same from the start, and we quickly found out that the team was struggling, and this has sadly continued for the entire season. The first game already showed that we didn't have any luck on our side. Weird refereeing decisions, opponents who played dirty and better than they are used to play, and the team just not finishing their chances. And this flow kinda continued throughout the season. We didn't necessarily play bad. At times, we actually played world class. But it has been too inconsistent and there were too many mistakes. Also, Barca conceded way too many goals this season. I think this is the highest number of goals conceded since I started watching the team 14 years ago. Not only a lot of goals conceded, but we have conceded and lost by high margins. We conceded 3 goals against Villarreal, 2 against Mallorca, 4 against Girona, 3 against Antwerp, 4 against Real Madrid, and that's about halfway the season, because we conceded 5 at home against Villarreal, 4 against Atletico Bilbao, 3 against Granada, 4 against PSG, 3 against Real Madrid, and 4 again against Girona. This list is just way too long, and the team and fans suffered way too much this season. I don't necessarily know one reason, but I think it's mostly big players not being there when it really matters, big chances missed and stupid mistakes. Also, the team dynamic hasn't been the same compared to the season before. The injury of Gavi was also a big miss, but the team was already struggling when he was still playing. The high of this season for me was the victory against PSG in the first leg, but that feeling was gone quickly in the second leg. We had such a good opportunity to reach the Champions League final, but the team completely blew it. Dortmund beating PSG and going to the semi-finals got me a bit more happy. But I can't stop thinking about what could have happened if Araujo didn't get that red card. I think the expectations I had and a lot of fans had before this season were just too high. We lost 2 great players with Busquets and Jordi Alba, especially Busquets, who was key in last season, and we just missed them a lot this year. The signings we made were very mixed. Oriol Romeu was a complete flop. He played pretty decent at the start, but we found out real quick that he didn't have the level needed. Martinez was an okay signing, but again, I don't think he has the level needed to be a center back at Barca, especially since we have so many great center backs already. Too much, actually. João Felix and João Cancelo are 2 great players who gave us moments of joy. For example, the goals of Felix against his team Atletico Madrid and the goal from Cancelo against Porto in the Champions League group stage. But I'm still doubting if we should buy them or just let them go back to their teams. Both would be great additions, however the price tag is too high in my opinion, in terms of what they bring back to the field. I think you could buy better and more needed players instead of them. Gundogan has been the best signing by far, but again, I expected him to step up more when the team really needed him. I got quite some hate for saying that, because overall he was one of our better, if not the best player of the season. But sometimes I was really not impressed, but he is definitely a player who needs to stay stay next season, and I hope he will perform even better. Because it's also not that easy to step into a team such as Barca, especially when the team is struggling for the entire season. I don't even want to talk about Vitor Roque, but we have to. One of the most talented youngsters, and we couldn't wait until this summer to bring him over. I didn't understand why we brought him in January at the time, and I still don't understand it. And that turned out to be true, because I think Xavi felt the same way. But I think Barca acted disgracefully towards the youngster, and he should have gotten way more minutes. And I think Xavi should play him in the last couple of games. He completely lost his confidence, and I hope he will get it back as soon as possible. It might be better to let him go on loan next season, or sell him, because we paid 60 million for him, and we can't just throw away that much money again. Lamine Yamal was my player of the season. What a talent. I saw his debut last year against Real Betis in the Camp Nou, and you could just feel the stadium being amazed at this 15-year-old who almost scored. This season he developed into our most threatening player, and he is still 16. I think we all forget that from time to time. He still has so much potential, and he will continue to develop greatly. My second favorite player this season was Fermín López. He had quite the introduction with that goal against Real Madrid in pre-season. But when Gavi got injured, we were really missing someone with that attitude. And Fermín has exactly that. He might not have the same quality as Gavi, but he is also still young and you can come quite far with this attitude of his. It would be great to have him here next season as well. The last games of the season are just to give the fans some more joy and play well together as a group again. Players who will play the Euros will use these games as a preparation. But from a Barca perspective, I hope we can end the season with 4 wins and that we will come back stronger after the summer break. I think the team will be stronger next season. I hope we can bring in a quality left winger and a CDM, maybe a player such as Kimmich. It might be time to say goodbye to some players such as Frenkie de Jong. Frenkie had so much potential, but he hasn't lived up to the expectations at all. And we have to keep in mind, he is getting older and older. Now would be the best time to still get the highest amount possible for him. And I think the club needs it and we can buy great players in return. I would hate to see him go, but at this point I think it would be your right decision. With Gavi and Balde back next season, some great signings and playing in the Camp Nou again, I hope we can have a better season than this year. And most important of all, compete with the bigger teams again, win trophies and have fun again. That was it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Videos about the upcoming games will be on my channel soon, and I want to thank you for watching.